As I shared with you in part 1, the extreme pressure sunk my spirit into feeling a state of depression. The process to decompress from the external forces and most importantly, the internal forces within my mind, well, that is part of the journey. I can't lie to you and tell you this is my first time within the darkness of compression. But I must say, every time I had to claw my way out of the dark, tight, sunken place, using every inch of my energetic being, I've emerged out of it a higher version of myself, more confident, vibrant, smarter, and further aligned to the person I am destined to be. So, how did I do it? I will share now in part 2. Hello, humans of the world. You are now tuned into Relayshons Podcast, where me and a new co-host just like you discuss our relations with ourselves, with each other, and our experiences. Are we ready to break the cycles? You know, the ones that live within our learned behaviors. Have you noticed the decisions you make subconsciously? The ones that lead you right back to where you started? Let's take on the healing journey together. Get on this PJ of unconventional conversations and let's travel all the way through our lineage. Then let's break the cycles link by link. Ready? Let's do this. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Relations. Hello, humans of the world. Welcome to part 2. I'm so excited. Thank you for joining me again. So the premise of this episode is depression is really elevation. Now, I don't want to make it seem like this process is a walk in the park. The elevation process is the internal feeling of your spirit stretching, going to like growing pains. So let me explain. But first, let's start off with defining the keywords I will be using in today's episode to ensure we are under the same understanding. The definition, according to Webster Dictionary of 1828, first word is compress. Compress is to press together by external force, to force, urge, or drive into a narrower compass, to crowd as, to compress air. The next word, stretch. To extend mentally, as to stretch the mind or thought, to be extended or to bear extension without breaking, as elastic substances, utmost reach of power. The next word, elevate. To raise in a literal and general sense, to raise from low or deep place to a higher. Now, what are the signs that you are in a high compressed state and the spirit is sinking, aka depression? Well, most people say, and if you look up the word depression, a lot of the descriptions is a feeling of sadness, tearfulness, emptiness, or hopelessness, angry outbursts, irritability, or frustration, even over small matters, loss of interest or pleasure in most or all normal activities such as sex, hobbies, or sports, sleep disturbance, including insomnia, or sleeping too much. Now, the experience with the higher power within your higher self is different for each of us. The primary misconception is that depression looks the same for everyone, but that is not true. For some, depression is just an abusive relationship with things that seem to be quote unquote good for you, like excessively working out or being very productive and working a lot, or even over socializing and going out all the time and hanging out with people on a consistent basis. So I want to clear that one up and make it really understand where that basis is coming from. Now, what did I do to decompress? So like a true Capricorn, I was trying to avoid the need to stop. I felt like I was driving on a highway in full speed ahead. And instead of slowing down, I just decided to add more oil. So I turned into a method I've been practicing since I was 21, detoxing. So detox diets are said to eliminate toxins from your body, improve health, and promote weight loss. They often involve the use of laxative, diuretics, vitamins, minerals, teas, and other foods thought to have detoxing properties. The term toxin in the context of detox diets is loosely defined. Now, I don't know the exact recipe in Queen Afua's detox program, y'all, but I went into this trying to just detox my body from toxins because I figured, okay, my energy is low. I'm feeling tired all the time. I'm quote unquote stressed. So let me just detox. Um, and I started this detox for my energy, and my spiritual fields began to like basically get detoxed. I felt like every emotion that I was suppressing and unhealed wounds were resurfacing. So, the backstory: the Brujas of Brooklyn, shout out to the ladies, they launched this collective detox of purification for liberation with master teacher Queen Afua, a master herbalist and healer. Queen Afua's has the 7, 14, and 20-day detox program. It is a clinically tested detoxification and rejuvenation system that cleanses toxins and impacts waste from the body. To get your kit, visit queenafuas.com. This is not a sponsored message, y'all. This is a rating from your happy customer. She gets 5 stars. And a quote that best describes and outlines Queen Afua's thoughts. Our approach is to address the whole person in order to awaken the healer within. We understand that healing is an inside job, and before you can heal others, you have to first heal the woman and man in the mirror. So I went into this physical detox, and I was on Afua's detox program. I was being motivated by the Brujas of Brooklyn, who they were doing this program during that time. And I just started to feel, maybe by like day 10, I just started to feel like, okay, well, now this is like going into my emotions. I felt like an ejection of grief. And I rejected this direction. I just had so many things to do, right? We always think we're so busy to take care of ourselves. I had so many projects, but I just didn't want to listen to the direction of guidance within myself and of what my body was telling me. So I went into shutdown mode. And I know when God and my guidance and the universe is directing me, when I feel the symptoms of stretching. Yes, stretching. I feel this pressure is going to break me, but rather I'm expanding in a space that no longer fits me. So, what are the systems or the symptoms of stretching? The first one I had was confusion. I don't know if anyone has experienced this, but being in a decompression state, it's like I couldn't have clear thoughts. I was unable to communicate as I'm communicating to you right now. The words wouldn't come out, like the thought process wouldn't come out. The second symptom I felt was disconnection. So I felt like numbness and separation from earthly experiences and pleasures, like enjoying a plate of food that I usually enjoyed. I just didn't feel connected to it. I would go outside and feel like I was in an unfamiliar place. So it's like my spirit was disconnected from my physical human existence. The third symptom I felt was fighting. I was like fighting to survive. I was needing to affirm my position on this earth. And, I think a lot of people would define this as being suicidal when you start to question your existence on this earth. But really, it's almost like your spirit is kind of elevated outside of your body so that you can look at yourself. That's how I see it, at least. And so I just kept praying for God to show me how I'm still valuable here. Remind me why you brought me here. Why affirm my existence. And only I think the higher power can do that, and the power within yourself. The fourth symptom I felt was denial. And I think this is all fear-based, of the unknown and unfamiliar. So when you're denying something, usually you're just leading with fear because you just don't know what's actually being shown to you, and what you don't know, you reject. The next state I felt was grief. I mean, extreme mourning of my old self. Is almost like the things that I used to do, the things that I liked, no longer felt good. And so usually whenever we feel detached from our habits and the things that come naturally to us, we feel like we want to fight it and you want to continue doing them, even when you're pushing yourself through the grieving process and you just really need to mourn it. The next thing I felt was impatience. Feeling like time is still not giving me options, like it was never enough. And the last one I felt was solitude, is the innate need to be alone. I needed to be alone, but I was fighting it because I just felt this extreme loneliness within myself. But when you're in that state, at least for me, it's almost like it doesn't matter if I'm in a room full of a million people, because the solitude is not based on my environment. It's based on the things within myself. And allowing for the stretching symptoms to process and subside is the acceptance of healing. I'm convinced that the most of the delays in our healing is due to our resistance of this process within itself. Once I've allowed the vulnerability, stopped lowering my vibrations with suppressive substances, and went into deep hibernation, reducing exposure to other energies, that's when my true healing began. So, how do you align the energy, the spirit, and the mind? Getting back to replenishment after detoxing is essential. It starts with the mind, then the energy and spirit follows. What does a mental decompression mean? Emotions, time, and space are intrinsically connected. So, if we want to decompress, the key is that we need to create the perception of more mental space, which makes us feel like we have more time. The result is this decompression, a system reset, the feeling of mental clarity and relaxation. Now, some of the tools that I've used to replenish: spiritually, I use Reiki, meditation, and prayer. And I put these three things together because they really are nourishing of the spirit. It just allows me to really just spend time within myself and get silent enough to hear my higher thoughts. Reiki, if you guys have never heard of Reiki, it's basically like a deep level of meditation, but it's with a practitioner who basically aligns your chakras and your energy spaces within your physical body. It's magical. I would advise you to research and look into it. If you need some advice, I can definitely refer you to amazing Reiki practitioners because it's magical. It has saved my life several times. Meditation is something that people say to be really hard. And I guess during these type of decompressive states, it can be. To quiet your thoughts and your mind is not an easy task. So what I started using are these YouTube videos, and there's guided meditation that you can just listen to, and it would guide your breath, they would guide your thoughts, and for you to get into the meditative state. So I was doing this, and I still am practicing it every morning and every night. So I go to sleep with it, and then I wake up in the morning and do a quick 10-minute meditation to get me up and going for the day. And prayer is different for everyone. I wouldn't constitute myself as a religious person, although I was raised in a religious practice. I think to connect with your higher self, God, Allah, Buddha, whoever it is that you connect with, is really your own. So to me, the way I connect with my higher self and God is really by talking. So I don't get on my knees and put my hands together in prayer mode. I really just talk. I talk within my thoughts. I talk out loud, and I talk from my heart. So, practice it however you like. I think it's a very personal thing, and no one can really direct you through prayer but you. Taking days off. So I started taking some days off. Just stopping and slowing down is really important to replenish. So just take some days off and just do nothing. That's really valuable. And then I did some grounding techniques. So grounding techniques for me is like going into nature, walking, connecting, hearing the little birds that you're hearing right now, and exercising. Exercising is magical to me. It just kind of releases endorphins that are super valuable for the body. And it doesn't really take long. You don't have to be a gym rat and go into the gym for 2 hours, right? Just going into the gym and running for 30 minutes is extremely life-changing. The next is disconnection, and disconnecting from people, places, and things. Anything outside of yourself can distract us from focusing on ourselves within. So to me, it's really valuable to replenish yourself by disconnecting from any distraction. And lastly, relax, right? Take naps. Be okay with doing nothing. I know that this is maybe hard for us because no one teaches us to do that, right? No one teaches us to relax. It's about being goal-oriented and doing something and getting up and not being lazy, right? But relaxing, taking naps is vital to replenishment. So what happened after you decompress? You elevate, you bloom. A person who is blooming has a healthy, energetic, and attractive appearance. So the things that I started seeing was just feeling light spiritually, like that heaviness dissipated. Clarity and understanding on how to move forward kind of just came. My creativity regenerated and my perspective widened. And then I started feeling connected to others and earthly things again, in my experience. Spending time alone no longer felt lonely. And decisions based on my instincts took over rather than being reactive. So, in closing, what have I unlearned through this process? Stillness is a waste of time. Self-sustainability means we must water our own roots to repair ourselves and bloom. The journey of elevation and self-evolution never ends. It continues maintenance. And those chapters of your sinking spirit is just letting you know it is time to elevate to the next chapter, to the next level, reaching the highest version of yourself. We are the most important, valuable project we will create. Don't give up on yourself. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you take away so many great tools here. I wanted to make this short and direct to the resources. And I would love to hear your thoughts and your comments. Until next time, laters. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to subscribe and follow on iTunes, Spotify, Soundcloud, and YouTube at Relayshons Podcast via The Diary of MR. M as in Melissa, R as in Rosario. And now, the best part, here are the after credits, a message from my co-host. A couple of weeks ago, I was led to write a message to my higher self, and I would like to share it with you. It goes, Melissa, you are more than what you can imagine, and life is less than what you believe it to be. The best parts of you are within, and everything outside of you is created by a figment of your imagination. It can be anything you would like it to be, anytime you would like to create it. Your relations with Earth is less valued because your soul connection with Spirit is magnified. And this is okay. Always remember, this human experience is limited and within divine purpose. Share with it what you can and create each part of it as you see fit. This masterpiece is only you as the master, and so it is.